Como te mencionaba, hoy está en el estudio Foro Global Jan Gehl. Él es arquitecto danés. En el año 2000 cofundó Gehl Arquitectos, en donde es asesor senior. Jan es experto en urbanismo y los peatones y ciclistas son los protagonistas de todos sus diseños. A lo largo de su carrera ha publicado varios libros como Ciudades para la gente, La humanización del espacio urbano, La vida social entre los edificios, Nuevos espacios urbanos y People Cities. El más reciente. Jan, thank you so much for these minutes for Foro Global and welcome to Mexico City.
Thank you.
I always start, every time that I have a global persona like yourself, I always start by asking them some personal questions, and you will be no exception. Why did you become an architect, and how did you get involved in advising cities on how to build better cities?
The first thing about why I became an architect was a little bit arbitrary. There was no architects in my family, but I thought it sounded more interesting than being an engineer. So I went to School of Architecture.
And, the Royal Danish School of Architecture.
The Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts. I graduated in 1960, and I was trained in the 1950s. And at that time, the big thing which we were trained in were modernism. And the big thing which we sort of worshipped were Brasilia, the brand new capital of Brazil, which looks fantastic from an airplane, fantastic from a helicopter, and nobody thought about how the people in the city would fare. But that was the training I got, and I went out to do all these wonderful modernistic things. Then I married a psychologist. And then in our family, in our house, there were many young psychologists and many young architects, and the psychologists, they kept saying, why are you architects not really interested in people? Why are you so interested in form and not in people? Why don't they teach you anything about people in School of Architecture? Don't you realize that whatever you build anything, you manipulate with people's life? There were many questions, and these psychologists, they were actually right that architecture was really in an ivory tower where we took photos of each other's buildings and sent them to the magazines, and we knew nothing about people. So my wife and I, we realized there was a big gap between planning, architecture, and social sciences, but that the architecture and the form has a very big bearing and importance for the quality of life of people. And then the two of us decided to try to study that area. Each in our way. My wife went to the Danish Housing Research Institute and mostly worked with housing. And I went back to School of Architecture, where I spent another 40 years in finding out what they forgot to tell me in my first period in the school. That means that we had to find out some very basic knowledge about how do people use cities. And it appeared, of course, very quickly that in all the cities, they knew everything about how the automobiles use the cities, because they have transport department who were sitting there counting all the cars every day. They knew everything about the traffic, but nobody was knowing anything about how people use the city. There were no documentation, no counts, no knowledge. So it was really an area where nothing was known. So my work really has become to make the people who use the cities visible, so that politicians and planners and architects and citizens can know quite a bit about where does people like to go, where don't they like to go, how do they go about being in the city, how do they meet, where do they stand, what are the obstacles, what do they like, whatever. All this very basic information was unknown. But gradually, we came to know more and more. And I had the pleasure to publish a number of modest little books, which, much to my surprise, were at once taken and published worldwide. And all in all, it has been 6 books, which are published in 35 languages, which shows that this humanistic direction in city planning is something which is very much asked for in countries all over the world. People are generally very fed up with the cars with the cities which are full of cars, with the congestion and pollution, and many qualities for life have gone with the development. So we have seen that this kind of knowledge has been very much sought after. And then after having worked in research in university for quite a number of years, actually 15 years ago, there were so many mayors who came and said, you can criticize, but can't you come and show what we shall do? And then, together with one of my former students, we formed a company, GEL Architects, Urban Quality Consultants. And then if people ask, what shall we do? We could start to help them. And that has been also a fantastic journey from the capital of Greenland in the north to Christchurch in New Zealand after the earthquake, to Tokyo, Shanghai, Moscow, New York, San Francisco, all corners of the world. There have been so many people asking, could you come and help us to humanize our cities? And actually quite a few of them have made remarkable turnarounds and have become much better cities.
Yeah, you were talking about your books, and I recently read Cities for People, which has been actually translated into Spanish, Ciudades para la Gente. And I love the fact how you answered to my previous question, because you already gave me an answer for the one that I wanted to ask you, which was actually a city for people. What do you imply by that? But I think you already covered that. But you also make another argument on your book, and you mentioned that there's also a relationship between pedestrians, cities for people, and security of urban spaces. How is that? How does that work?
That has been known for many, many years, that if you start to have an empty city, a city which nobody wants to be in, streets which are completely without any people, the first thing which happens is you start to feel creepy, feel worried. You think, where are all the other ones? Is something wrong here, whatever? And actually, it has been found and it has been proved that if people are around, if you are in a human environment where there are many people around, it is much safer. And also, if it is a lively city, people will look out of the window to see all the wonderful life, and that makes it more safe and more secure. Already in 1960, the good old lady of urbanism, Jane Jacobs from New York, she wrote a long chapter about the value of street watchers, that a good city would have good streets, and there will be people who was watching it naturally. So this natural surveillance is generally believed to be very, very important. But of course, if there's much criminality in a city, it is, of course, social reasons, and it must be solved basically from social measures. We, as architects and planners, cannot make a city full of crime a crime-free city just by fiddling with the street lamps and widening the sidewalks and putting up trees. But if we make nice, attractive cities so that many people feel invited and would like to use them, they become more safe. And that is what is used in many countries and many cities as a strategy for having safer cities. Make people use the places, make them so inviting that people cannot refuse to use them. And we've seen an interesting pattern. If we make many roads, what happens? 10 years later, we have much more traffic. If we make many bicycle lanes and make a bicycle infrastructure, what happens? 10 years later, we have more bicyclists. If we make better public spaces and better sidewalks in a city, what happens? 10 years later, more people will be walking more. So we can actually influence what is happening in a city by what we do. But what has generally been done in most of the cities is that ever since the car invasion really took off, we have done everything to make the cars happy and gradually made its city more and more unattractive for people. And in many cases, the people have gone home, put up barricades, and sat in front of the television or the game station and started to talk to themselves instead of being part of the city life.